You think you know a celebrity, and then they do something that just makes you go, wait, what? That's kind of the vibe with Selena Gomez right now. She went from this Disney darling to a global pop star. And now? Well, now she's a total tabloid fixture. Every single move she makes just sparks this huge debate. And lately, her life has gotten so public and honestly so puzzling. These viral clips with her new guy, Benny Blanco, have got literally everyone asking the same big, unavoidable question. Why has she changed so much? I mean, you've seen the clips, right? She looks and sounds so completely different. And this new relationship, is it a happy ending? Or is it maybe a cry for help? It feels like the polished, super curated star we all grew up with just kind of vanished overnight. And in her place is someone way more unpredictable. So yeah, let's get into it. Because to really understand who she is today, you have to go back. We need to unpack this incredible and honestly really tough history of pressure, trauma, and just total turmoil that made her. All right, so to really get this, our story doesn't start on some glamorous red carpet. Nope. It starts way before the cameras with a whole lot of struggle. We've got to go all the way back to the very beginning. So check this out. Her parents were just kids themselves when they had her. Her mom was 16, her dad 17. Can you imagine? Then they divorced when she's 5, and she and her mom are plunged into some serious poverty. I'm talking running out of gas on the freeway, searching for quarters just to buy spaghetti. It was rough. So when she gets cast on Barney, a 7 years old, she's not just some cute kid actress, she's the family's primary earner. She's their lifeline. And then, by 15, Wizards of Waverly Place just explodes. Suddenly, she's not just a Disney star, she's a global phenomenon with the financial weight of her entire family on her shoulders. That's a lot for a 15-year-old. And you know what gets even deeper? There's this whole other layer of pressure. See, her mom, Mandy, wanted to be an actress too. That was her dream. But getting pregnant at 16, well, that put a stop to all of it. So from day one, you could say Selena's career wasn't just hers. She was kind of living out the dream her mother had to give up. Just think about that for a second. Your whole life, your success, it's all tied up in fixing a broken dream from your parents' past. That is an insane amount of pressure for anyone. But for a kid, it's just a massive burden. So all that pressure from her childhood, it basically set the stage for the next huge chapter of her life. And this chapter was all about a relationship, one that was so public, so chaotic, and it just completely took over everything. It would define the next 10 years of her life, her career, her mental health, everything. Yep, we're talking about the Jelena roller coaster. Okay, so on the surface, they were the ultimate teen power couple. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, Jelena. For millions of fans, they were a real-life fairy tale. But what we saw in the pictures and at the award shows, that was one story. Behind the scenes, the reality was a whole different thing. It was this messy, chaotic cycle of breaking up, getting back together, breaking up again, and all of it was just surrounded by these constant, ugly rumors about toxic behavior and cheating on both sides. And when I say it was a cycle, I'm not kidding. Just based on what we know publicly, they broke up and got back together at least 7 times. 7. That is just so unstable. And this was all happening during their most formative years, when you're figuring out who you are. And they had to do it all with every camera in the world pointed right at them. And then the final breakup. This timeline right here, it just shows how fast and honestly, how brutally it all ended. So March 2018, Jelena's over, for good this time. Just 3 months later, Justin is engaged to Hailey Baldwin. And then by September of that same year, they're married. For the fans who had spent years invested in Jelena, this was just complete whiplash. It felt like a betrayal, and it created this whole narrative that, let's be real, follows all 3 of them around to this very day. Now, this wasn't the first time their private drama spilled out into the open. Remember that crazy Instagram fight back in 2016? It was wild. Justin posted pics with his girlfriend at the time, Sophia Richie, and his fans were not happy. Selena jumps into the comments, defending her fans, and then it just explodes. She straight up accuses him, right there for everyone to see, of cheating on her multiple times. And he doesn't even deny it. He just fires back and accuses her of cheating with Zayn Malik. Whoa. For a second, that perfect public image was just torn down, and we all saw the messy, bitter truth underneath. Okay, but here's the thing that's so important to remember. While this whole soap opera was playing out for us to watch and debate, Selena was fighting a much bigger, much more serious battle in private. A battle for her health that was literally life or death. Right at the peak of her fame, she gets diagnosed with lupus. Now, what is lupus? Well, to put it simply, it's a really cruel disease where your own body basically attacks itself. The immune system, which is supposed to protect you, gets all mixed up and starts going after your healthy organs. It can mess with anything, your skin, your brain, your joints, and for Selena, it went straight for her kidneys. And that lupus diagnosis was really just the first domino. The disease, plus all the pressure of her life, it led to really bad depression and anxiety. So bad she had to cancel tours and just disappear for a while. Then the lupus got even more aggressive. Her kidneys completely failed, and she needed a life-saving transplant. And on top of all of that, in 2020, she shared that she'd also been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So this wasn't just one thing. It was this whole cascade of really serious health crises, one right after another. Let's just stop and think about that. One kidney. After all of that, her entire life came down to getting one donated kidney. And it came from her close friend, an actress named Francia Raisa, who did this incredibly heroic thing in 2017 and volunteered to be a living donor. I mean, that's just an unbelievable act of friendship. So what happens next is what's so wild and kind of devastating. 5 years after the transplant, Selena does an interview and says that her only friend in the industry really is Taylor Swift. Francia, the woman who literally gave her an organ, sees this. She comments on social media with one word, interesting. Then she deleted it, but wow. The message was loud and clear. She felt totally erased. And it was just this shocking public falling out between two people who shared this incredible, intimate bond. So after all of that, I mean, the childhood stuff, the toxic relationship, the insane health scares, the falling out with her kidney donor, Selena starts a new chapter. And this one is all about a new relationship that's turning out to be just as controversial as the last one, her romance with producer Benny Blanco. Okay, so who is Benny Blanco? You might not recognize his face, but I guarantee you know his music. This guy's a super producer. He's basically one of the main people who created the sound of modern pop music. He's made hits for Katy Perry, Rihanna, Ed Sheeran, you name it. But here's the really complicated part. He was also a close friend of, wait for it, Justin Bieber. He even co-wrote and produced one of Justin's biggest breakup anthems, Love Yourself. Yeah, awkward. And their dynamic as a couple is, well, it's different. Benny is just totally unfiltered. He overshares like crazy. And Selena, her whole life has been about being polished and media trained. It's a weird mix. Like, he went on this big talk show recently and told this story about how when they first started dating, she would show up like 30 minutes early and just wait in her car outside his house. Now, she said she was just nervous and really liked him, but him telling that story to millions of people, it just kind of shows you how awkward and unpolished their public vibe is. A lot of people find it pretty cringy. The public reaction to them was instant, and it was brutal. A lot of fans, just looking at their appearances, immediately called him a downgrade. Then, in a move nobody saw coming, Selena herself starts fighting with people in her own Instagram comments, aggressively defending him, saying he's the best thing that's ever happened to her. But that just made things worse. It fueled this whole fire, and then these awkward clips of them started going viral at basketball games, on red carpets, and it just fed this online theory that he's not really into her. And that brings us to right now. We have this global superstar who's been through everything, but to a lot of her fans, she seems more lost than ever. So let's try and connect the dots here between her fame, who she seems to be now, and everything she's been through. First, let's just talk about how famous she is. It's insane. Selena has over 400 million followers on Instagram. That is a mind-blowing number. It's way more than almost any other celebrity, even more than her supposed only friend Taylor Swift. And this is what a lot of critics point to. They call it a paradox. How can she be this famous, but have, fewer big awards? She's never won a Grammy, for instance. The theory is that her fame isn't just about her music or acting. It's about this incredible story she's built around being vulnerable and relatable. And that persona, it's gone through a total earthquake lately. The old Selena was that perfect, polished Disney product. The new Selena seems unfiltered, she's super defensive online, and let's be honest, sometimes she's almost unrecognizable. Her face, even the way she talks, has changed so much. Now, a lot of that is because of her serious health issues and the medication she's on, probably some cosmetic work too. But that change has opened the floodgates for all these wild conspiracy theories online. And this leads to a really interesting plot twist, right? It's super ironic. For years, Hailey Bieber has been put through the ringer, just constant, cruel criticism about her relationship with Justin. But now, with all this backlash against Benny Blanco, Selena is getting that exact same treatment. For the first time ever, she's on the other side of it. She's getting a taste of the Hailey Bieber experience, and that has to be a very new and maybe very humbling place for her to be. So, where does that leave us? We're left with this one big question. You have this woman who was supporting her family as a little kid, survived a super toxic public relationship, and battled all these life-threatening diseases. So is she a victim of her circumstances, trapped in a life she never really picked for herself? Or is she actually a brilliant architect of her own story who uses that narrative to stay famous? The truth? Well, it's probably somewhere complicated in the middle. And it just leaves all of us wondering, who is the real Selena Gomez?